第三个最明显的人体改变就是人的头骨，无论是头盖骨或牙胶骨的形状，都与我们以往的认知完全不同。最明显的就是头骨的眼眶位置，以往眼眶内是一个空洞，并没有骨块保护后面的脑部，现在人类的头骨已经突然改变，出现了一块称为蝶骨的骨块保护脑部。就如这集开始时所讲，在旧记忆中，成年人的总骨块数目是188块，但现今所有医学资料都显示，人类有历史以来一直都有206块骨，比旧记忆多了18块，而眼睛后面的2块蝶骨就是其中最明显的2块。
The first place we're going to start is the skull. So let's start by diving into the skull. That's a good joke. All right, let's take a look here. This old reality skull this is what I remember. Now, I'm sure people will say, well, it's just an old anatomy book and maybe things have changed since then. Yeah, but this is what I remember and a lot of other people remember. So this is what I'm going to put up is the best picture I could find. Now, my girlfriend actually pointed this out when we started, is how different the skull shapes are. You notice in the old reality, the skull looks like a normal head. It's human, it's round. And then you look at this one, in the new reality, it's all oblong, especially in the back here. It looks more like an alien head than a human. Look at this thing. So that was kind of the first, okay, something's different. Also, what we noticed is the jawbone. My girlfriend's a dental hygienist, and she kept saying, look at the jaw. And she's right, because the jaw looks very different. The new reality, the jaw has a much thicker ramus of the mandible here. And also it kind of articulates different too. One of the big things I am seeing talked about in the forums is this indentation in the temporal region. You don't really see it much here, but it's, it's where the masticating muscles attach. Now, people were saying they have no memory of this kind of indentation, and that the zygomatic arch, as well as the temporal process, these are much more prominent now, and I'd have to agree with that. The other issue is the styloid bone, which we're going to get to in the next slide here, but you can kind of get an idea that this right here, the styloid bone is much bigger than the old one. Like, it looks like it doubled in size. And I remember that one thing as a chiropractor, when you feel this area and you're feeling for the atlas transverse process, it's really easy to mix it up with the styloid process. And you can see that in the new reality, why that would be. It's practically sitting on top of the transverse process of the atlas bone. Another big one, which you probably already heard this, but I'm going to put it out there in case you haven't, is the eye sockets have changed a lot. In the old reality, they were much more open. Some people were saying there's absolutely no bone at all in them. I kind of remember there's being some bone on the edge, but the very back being a large open hole where the optic nerves came out. And you can kind of get an idea compared to the new ones where it's just like a little slit where the optic nerves run out, and this whole area is protecting you with bone. And I remember that people would die a lot easier if they got eye injuries because it would affect their brain directly, where here they have some sort of protection with bone. I really don't remember that. I think that's a big change that's got some people freaked out. And you'll see a lot of this still in old TV shows and movies. Now, a lot of those are models, so they're kind of what they think the skeleton is, but the old black and white movies used real bones, and you'll see that there are big black gaping holes where the eye sockets used to be in the old black and white movies. They're still out there, the residual. Let's take another look at the skull a little deeper. Now, just kind of ignore the writing around the pictures, because some of these pictures I had to flip and move around so you could see a good side-by-side. But what I can tell you is the parietal and the occipital bones are different. So this is the old reality, and this is the new reality. And you'll see that this suture is very different. The occiput here, occipital bone, goes all the way around, where here it kind of stops at the mastoid process. It's like a cap on the back. And again, the head is round and looks like a normal human, and here it looks like some sort of alien. Look at that. It's all weird. Again, this is a good view of the styloid process. In the new reality, it's super long. It almost, in this picture, it looks like it's touching the mandible. It doesn't, but it looks like it. And here it's so much shorter. So you can really notice a big difference on that one. I learned anatomy all through my childhood. I was always interested in it, all the way through high school and all the way into college. I took a lot of anatomy in college. And then years later, I get into chiropractic school, and part of me goes, you know, maybe I learned something different. They're showing me different things, but I never really thought much about it because, you know, this is a doctoral program, so surely they're right. And that was it. There was never really a big disconnect in my mind about things.
以上片段可见，头骨眼眶内的明显改变。相信大部分人的记忆里，眼眶内都只有一个空洞，并没有现实的现实里突然出现了蝶骨。但你的记忆又是否一样呢？你的记忆中眼眶内是否有蝶骨呢？另外 YouTube 有人发现一本89年前在1928年出版的医学解剖图书，当中以人手绘制的头骨结构图与我们上述的旧记忆既未出现曼德拉效应时一样，但却与现今现实的头骨不同。当中记载的头骨比较圆，眼眶内也没有蝶骨，正如 Dr. Terence P. Lupo 所讲的一样。
Hello, I have with me a 90-year-old book, Library of Health. It was copyrighted in 1927. I have noticed that this book has some beautiful illustrations of what our skull and anatomy and things used to be like. Now I noticed that this book, this is a 1928 edition, so this is 89 years old. Written by, anyway, that guy. Historical Publishing Company. I want to share with you these beautiful illustrations from, 89 years ago, like this, and we're going to go through and end up at the skull. But I wanted to share because look at this beautiful skull and shape of a head and compare it to today. It doesn't look like the same guy. Here we go. Let's delve into his brain. I want to go nice and calm and slow so you can see it all. Here's the back side of the page. Muscles of the face and neck. Cerebrum or brain. There's the eye sockets. Look at the bone structure. That doesn't look like that little slit that we have now. The bridge of the nose looks a little out, but otherwise there's no ridge on the jaw. Notice how smooth the skull is. And now let's go to internal view of the base of the cranium. Middle lobe of the brain. So this is like slicing in half what you would see. And view of the base of the brain showing the origin of the nerves of special senses and blood supply of the brain. I'm holding it still so you can screenshot these if you would like to look further at these. Here's the real beauty, the skull. As soon as I heard that we had Klingon ridges, I needed to run to this book immediately and take a picture, and it stayed the same from what I can recall. This is just paper, and glue stuck to it, so this isn't a ridge. That's just paper. But you can see, very smooth. Look at the jawline. There's no strange ridge. Look how flat the ridge is. There's no holes. I don't know what that is right there. But there's no holes right here. Where are they? I forgot. Somewhere around here. And right here. But there are no holes in here. And look at how smooth everything is. And this is just a drawing. But maybe that's why I still have this evidence today.